It was Alfred Olango's sister who called El Cajon police to say her brother was having a mental crisis in the minutes before he was shot and killed by an officer. Lucy Olango has since sued the police department, alleging negligence. I spoke to her this month at her lawyer's office about her brother's death. Take me back to that day, September 27th, 2016, when your brother Alfred Olango was shot and killed by an El Cajon police officer. He had shown up at your place hours earlier. How was he behaving? What was his mental state?
He was telling me that he's so scared. I'm like, why are you scared? It's like, I think people are following me. I'm like, which people are following you? There's nobody here in my house. I opened the door. I'm like, look, there's nobody here.
What did you think was happening to him?
When I saw Alfred that time, and when he was sitting and sweating profusely, he was going into crisis. He had a mental breakdown, completely mental breakdown. And when I called for these people to come and help, he was still in the house. We were staying, we were all in the house, me and him.
You called police at that time?
Yeah, when he was sweating profusely, I did call police. I called, the number, like, hey, my brother is not doing so well. I need somebody to come and help him. I waited and waited. I was cooking too and stuff. He was still in the house. I waited. Nobody called. I'm like, what is going on? So I got dressed even, in my scrubs because I was going to go to work. And when I was getting dressed and stuff, he walked out of the house. And I didn't know where he had gone.
He leaves your apartment. You drive to work. What did you see?
I go to my car, driving, and I see him walking, crossing the street.
What did you see?
He was looking like as if somebody is following him or somebody's after him. He's like looking around like somebody, somebody who is scared. And I called him, Alfred, stop, don't walk like that. He's walking fast, and I'm walking with him, talking to him, come, let's go back home, like, come, let's go back. It's not safe out here.
You called El Cajon police again, but what happened?
He gets out with the gun and pointing at him. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. How are you going to come and start pointing somebody who is having a mental breakdown that cannot process to put their hands up? So there was an African-American lady already at the side, and when I came, and then he's like, please, do you know this man? I'm like, this is my brother. I called him to help. He's like, please tell your brother to raise his hands. They're going to kill him. They will kill him now. They're going to kill him. I was pleading with him. Please just raise your hands up, but I felt like they shouldn't even point him with a gun. And I told them he wasn't armed.
Again, you told a dispatcher and police when they arrived at the scene that your brother was unarmed. Former District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis concluded that police were justified when they shot and killed your brother. In fact, Dumanis said that the way that your brother removed an object from his pocket and raised his hands made it seem as if he was trying to let the officer know that he was about to get shot. How does that conclusion compare with what you saw?
Who wants to be killed? If he wanted to die, he could have killed himself. He wanted to live. He was crying for help. He was walking, crossing the street back and forth. He was crying for help.
So Dumanis also said that Olango had cocaine and alcohol in his system at the time of the shooting. Do you think that that influenced his behavior?
It probably could have, but he was going through things. He had just lost his best friend like a day or two before.
1 year ago, Wilnisha Sutton was already a San Diego activist. So she says when she found out about the police shooting death of Alfred Olango, she felt compelled to come here to El Cajon. And once she got here, she documented everything she found on her cell phone.
Oh my God.
Tuesday, September 27th, 2016.
Oh my God.
Wilnisha Sutton jumped out of her car in downtown El Cajon. and started recording.
God, Jesus Christ.
She got to the Broadway Village strip mall minutes after police shot 38-year-old Alfred Olango. Olango's sister was one of the first people Sutton saw.
Man, I call you guys to come and help my brother, not to come and shoot him in front of me. Okay.
Using her cell phone, Sutton started recording accounts of witnesses.
And then I saw him go pow, 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 5 shots. And next thing you know, I got closer and I saw the young man on the floor. He was dead.
Nothing. I felt compelled, like I have to report live what's going on. I don't want to wait for the news and the media to come up with their own narrative. I'm going to go and give the people the truth.
In fact, truth is the moniker Sutton uses when performing. The 30-year-old San Diegan is a singer, mother, and proud activist.
Activism to me means to be free and vocal about what you believe in and to stand up for those that don't have a voice. You saw what happened, bro?
1 year ago, Sutton says she was in that parking lot to stand up for Olango, a man she didn't know. It didn't take long for others to join her.
When I got there, it probably was like 10 people there. An hour later, it was like 100.
The crowd moved to outside the El Cajon Police Department, not knowing at the time if Olango had survived.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Medical personnel pronounced Olango dead at the hospital, and by Wednesday, the gathering had swelled.
Revolution, nothing less!
A lot of the people that lived in that area were more so spectators and not really getting involved in the movement, but it didn't matter. It was just amazing to see people out there and to see the people that did come out there, because it was people from every color, every religion, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever been a part of.
The assembly turned into demonstrations, at times spilling into the streets.
No justice, no peace, no racist police.
Sutton soon found herself leading the call.
Say his name! Alfred Olango! Say his name! Alfred Olango!
By Thursday night, law enforcement took a stronger stance.
I think the third night is the night they tear gassed us and pepper sprayed us and shot pepper bullets at us.
El Cajon police said demonstrators blocked traffic, broke windows, and assaulted officers. Police arrested 5 protesters.
My mom was scared. My siblings would call me every night like, you need to go home. I'm like, I'm not going home.
Why are you shooting at this man?
That's just me. If I'm in something, I'm in it full-fledged.
Y'all sworn in to serve and protect.
By Friday, September 30th, El Cajon Police Chief Jeff Davis called a press conference.
This is Mr. Olango.
To announce county law enforcement unanimously agreed to break protocol and release the footage of the shooting.
That was the intention of releasing this video. We really emphasize our desire for peace and calm.
A people united will never be defeated.
In the days that followed, the protests spread.
No justice, no peace, no racist police.
That Saturday, demonstrators marched downtown to San Diego Police Headquarters.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
By Sunday, Truth was back in El Cajon. She captured this cell phone recording. Law enforcement surrounded the parking lot memorial, near where Olango was killed days before. They wore helmets and were armed with batons. Authorities had declared it an unlawful gathering. Police arrested 14 people, most who they say refused to disperse.
I felt betrayed. Like, I felt hurt, and I felt very discouraged at the state of the way the police came out.
Still, Sutton returned to El Cajon night after night, even as the crowd shrank and the news cameras went away.
It was discouraging. It was very discouraging.
The remaining resistors dubbed the parking lot Olango Village, where Sutton says she stayed for 50-plus trying days.
I lost myself in that. I was very depressed afterwards, very. Whew, it made me emotional even talking about it.
A year later, there's no sign of Olango Village or any indication of what happened there.
If you want to stand right here, you can stand right here.
Monisha Truth Sutton says she's still not satisfied with the explanation for the shooting offered by police, but says the day she spent in El Cajon made her more aware, more loving, and more prepared to fight for communities of color.
You can't just kill people and expect for us not to stand up for our rights.